Hello there, Kevin from Epic Gardening here. Today we are going to assemble the Birdies tall 8-in-1 bed, which is the largest and tallest bed that we currently offer on the store. This guy is a beast. It's 60 pounds in box. I'm gonna assemble it really quickly. We'll talk through some of the features, but really it's just to show you how to do it if you've just purchased one and you want to put it together and get your garden going. So let's open it up and get started. Now it's up to you how you open this box. I prefer, whenever possible, to preserve the cardboard because I want to use it as a sheet mulch on the bottom of the bed. And so I'm just going to open it up with an X-Acto knife, just like this. There we go. Okay, let's figure out what we've got inside. A lot of different parts, so we'll go through them one by one once I get them out. Before we get into the assembly, let's talk parts. First of all, you've got your vinyl safety strip, which is going to run along the top edge of the assembled bed. Next, we have something that you typically don't see in our smaller Birdies products, which are these bracing rods. And the bracing rods come with a couple different modifications so that you can brace for any one of the 8 dimensions that you can achieve with this bed. You have your bag of bolts assembly kit, you have your corner panels, and then you have your side panels. And what you'll notice here is that some of these side panels are shorter than the others, and that's why it's called an 8-in-1 bed. Depending on the way that you orient these, which you can see on the instructions, 8 different dimensions you can achieve. We are going to go with one of the larger ones here, which is going to be the 2.1 meter by 1.1 meter, which is roughly 6 by 4 feet or so. Assembly really is quite simple. I'm gonna go again with these 2 short sides, making up the 2 short sides of the bed. So these are gonna go one in between each corner piece. So we'll have a corner, these ones, and then another corner. And then these long sides, of which there are 4, I'm gonna have 2 on each of the long sides. So the first thing to do is, first of all, make sure that you leave this plastic protective coating on the outside on until you start to screw this together. That way you won't scratch the outer coating of the paint. Now, if you do scratch it, you can touch it up with spray paint. It's not gonna ruin the protective quality because the galvanized steel and the process that we use is what protects it. But again, it's the aesthetics of it and you don't wanna mess with that. And so what we'll do is I'll put these over to the side and I wanna start to roughly frame up the bed. So I'm gonna take my corners here. It's a good idea to do this on a somewhat level surface. So we'll put one here. We'll put one over here. And let's just get to forming this up. Okay, we're roughly in shape there. So what I'll do is I'm gonna peel away for now just this outer edge on each side because I don't want to screw this together with the plastic on, but I still want to protect the remainder of the bed. Okay, that's ready to go. Remember to place the colored side out and don't flip it on the other way. Otherwise you're going to have a mismatched color. I also recommend only opening the top of this bag so it still stays in order. It can be really easy to lose anything when you're dealing with a huge bag of bolts. So it comes with an assembly tool, and I like to just frame up the bottom and the top to start out. This is where doing it on that level surface is really going to help you out. Finger tight to start. Don't go wild tightening it just yet. You want to make sure that it's nice and level after assembly. So I actually like to come around and just form up most of the outside first. We have our basic frame set up. Of course, just the top screws are loosely in, but I wanted to talk about this part, which is a fantastic part of the Birdies system, which is the bracing rod. And so for these larger beds like the tall 8-in-1, we give you a bracing rod because if you fill it up with a lot of dense soil, then at some point there might be some bowing out, which is why this exists. So once I unscrew it here, I will show you. Now, you might be wondering, well, if you can configure it to a lot of different dimensions, how do you know what bracing rod to use? Because you can see there's 3 of them right here. Well, It's on the instructions. For this particular configuration, all we need are these two. So we're going to put these two together like this. We're going to use some of the components in here. You have your threaded rod connectors right here. So that's what we're going to use. We're going to screw these in on one side, about halfway in. There we go. We're going to match it on the other side. So now we have one continuous piece. There we have that. And now as far as the attachments, what you have are dome nuts and washers. So the dome nut and washer go on the outside, and then the bracing rod attaches on the inside. So what we're going to do for this one is you go down 3 from the top and 3 from the bottom. So let's do the top one first. Let's attach this. This is going to come out right here. And then this one is going to come through and back right there. There we go. Bracing rod is in. Our washer will slide on the outside. Slide this back a little bit. And then the dome nut will attach. And the dome nut only has a certain depth, and that's how you know you can align it well. Just screw it all the way in, just like that. We'll map this on the other side, and the dome nut only goes so deep, so that's how far it should be in, right there. So besides bracing, these also help you set the correct width across the bed, so you have a nice, even, uniform bed. Now that our bracing bars are installed, what I like to do is start working my way down, but I want to make sure that I firm up the top screws in line, because there's some shifting with these panels until you start getting it more rigid. So what I'll do is I'll come through and just make sure I start in the center, because these bracing bars help align these panels. I move out from there. So I'll do here, I've got my tool on this side. I'll lock it in. You can use a power tool here if you want. You can also just use a screwdriver. It doesn't really matter. I'll set it, if you are using a power tool, on a very light setting. See? So it'll come through. It won't screw too deep into the metal. Come in. We'll tighten it up. There we go. We're still not really tightening it up too much here, but we're moving around and firming up the frame so that all the holes are aligned, so that when we do the rest of it, it'll be completely fine. I also like to make sure that the top lips are stacked together. Almost finished up with the assembly here. I've just got this last little piece to go. One thing I will say when you are assembling, you'll notice that these corners, these side pieces, you can choose, does it overlap on the outside or does it overlap on the inside? And what I encourage you to do is check both and see which one fits more flush. Oftentimes, it's a good idea to have the corners overlapping on the interior and then the outer panels coming around on the outside. That's what seems to work better for me to get a nice flush exterior, but let's just screw these last ones in. We've got our safety strip to put on, and then we're all assembled. We're done with the assembly. Takes some time, but remember, once it's set up, this guy's gonna last you for, I mean, it might last you the rest of your life if you take care of it. So that is worth it. And also, to be honest with you, building a wood bed of this size is gonna be roughly the same cost, but also a lot more time and effort. So that's why I've become such a big fan of the Birdies beds. So what I've got here is the final piece. So we do have a rolled corner on the top, so it's fine to leave it like this if you want. I like to put on our safety strip. So this is a vinyl safety strip. This has been rated to 0 degrees Fahrenheit or below, as well as above 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's UV resistant, so that's why we choose this more rigid product. Let's go ahead and get it over the top. So on these joints, you might just have to widen it slightly, but we're really just threading it around and meeting it back here, and we'll snip off the excess. Just cut off the excess now. Clean cut, put it on down. And that's it for the assembly of the tall 8-in-1 Birdies bed. It's a little hot out here, but at this point it's time to place it in your garden where you'd like it and fill it up with soil. So if you're confused or you need some extra help on filling it up with soil, then check out the link that you'll see on the video, as well as you can go to the FAQ section and you can see how to fill your Birdies beds with soil in a way that saves you even more money. You're saving money with a raised bed, you're saving money with the soil, and you're in a really good spot to grow some epic produce.